And a very good evening, everyone. Welcome into your box seat, brought to you in association with Sweetloo, of course, standing at Woodlands along with their other outstanding stallions. Just 3 more sleeps and we'll be at Harness Jewels 2018, the 12th edition of this wonderful concept. Alongside me is Michael Guerin. Michael, it's always a great build-up to the Jewels.
Hi Greg, big hi to everybody at home. I know you're looking forward to the wonderful meeting, of course. Fields come out last Friday. I was sitting at home last night thinking, every Harness Jewels, Gregory, there's a bit of drama. Remember back when Auckland Reactor got scratched and there's things that happen all the time? I thought, I wonder where the drama's going to come from this year. Well, the drama happened today at 5 p.m. tonight. Very shortly, we're going to talk to the officials about it. And Greg, it won't probably end up being that dramatic, but at the moment, it's caused well over half the Jewels markets to be suspended.
It has done, Michael. Let's get straight to the release from the RIU. They've been advised by trainers Mark Purdon and Natalie Rasmussen that following the horses may have been exposed to possible contamination during their trip from Canterbury up to Cambridge, which occurred on Monday. Added to that list on the same truck was DeBarber for Terry and Glennish Schmiel. So the stewards therefore have ordered the swabbing of the horses, which we'll find out in a moment what that process will be, and also the races that these horses are involved in have subsequently been suspended in terms of betting. Joining us online, the head of harness for the RIU, and Nick Ergren. Nick, not the news that any of us were really looking for, but it is unfortunately what has unfolded this afternoon. As I say, a very good evening to you, and just take us through what in fact has unfolded.
Good evening, Greg and Michael. Yeah, definitely not the not an ideal lead into the Jewels, but as you've touched on, hopefully nothing too serious from it. But basically how it stands so far is that we had some mid-afternoon contact from the All-Stars stable, and they just outlined a potential situation where the horses in transit from Canterbury to Hamilton may have been exposed to a contaminant. From there, we decided 2 things basically. One was that the horses needed to be sampled before, well, the earliest opportunity really, and before racing. And 2, that we make a recommendation to the TAB that the markets that those horses were in be suspended. From there, and after further investigation, it was found that DeBarber, Terry and Glennish Schmiel's horse was also on the truck with those horses. And for that reason, that horse will be treated the same as the All-Stars runners.
Okay, Nick, take us through the process over the next, say, 24 hours then.
We'll take swabs from those horses tomorrow morning, and those swabs will be tested at the laboratory, and then basically it's just a waiting game until we hear back from them regarding the results, and we expect to anticipate that'll happen on late Friday afternoon.
Nick, there'll be people hearing this and saying this sounds like a potential drug scandal. Just to try and give us as much information as possible, obviously without overstepping the boundaries in case an investigation does begin. You were notified by the All-Stars of this potential problem, so therefore I would suggest there's not many concerns that they have been involved in any illicit drugging of horses?
No, that's certainly not the suggestion or an accusation. Michael, you're 100%, and it's probably a good point to drop in. You know, I'd have to applaud the All-Stars stable on their proactive and professional approach to the matter, and hopefully it all comes to nothing, and come Saturday we've got, you know, full fields and good racing with all these horses involved.
Nick, this may be a very simplistic question to ask, but I'm asking on behalf of those at home. If any of these now 10 horses return any element of an illicit substance or a prohibited substance in their blood, I presume it's going to be blood that's taken from them tomorrow, would they have to be scratched for Saturday?
They don't have to be, Michael, but that's an option we have available to us, and we'll assess that when we get those results back. It's not set in stone, the decision that they will be scratched if the results aren't as good as what we would hope for. But I don't want to put the cart before the horse here and go down that line before we need to. So it's an option available to us, but it's not something we've decided at this point.
Does the RIU, Nick, have an opinion on whether these markets could be reopened? For example, these are scratchings out markets. For example, if a scratching comes out, the market changes and therefore you get refunds on horses. Isn't it not that greatly different to a normal situation? And after tomorrow, for example, could we not see these markets reopen? Or does the RIU not want them reopened until what could well be, according to the press release, 4 p.m. on Friday?
Our recommendation was, when this was all breaking and new, that the best thing for the integrity of the race was that those markets be suspended. So whether there are developments, and we can further discuss that with the TAB tomorrow as to whether those markets can reopen or not, I'm not sure. Again, we'll have those discussions tomorrow and see where we go from there. But certainly when it was fresh and unfolding and developing, it was absolutely paramount. We felt that for the integrity of the punting side of things, that the markets needed to be suspended. And we made that recommendation to the TAB, and they ultimately felt the same and took that course of action.
Nick, can we just confirm again when you expect the results to come in of these swabs?
We're not expecting them before 4 p.m. on Friday. On Friday, Once they do come out, we'll make a further announcement then.
Okay, really appreciate you coming on. It's a challenging time, and yeah, we'll no doubt hear from you in due course as to things as they unfold in this situation.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay,
Wow.
look, Nick has to toe a certain line because he works for the RIU, and as does the racing board. But let's try and simplify this for you at home, because quite clearly it's a confusing time. What has happened is the All-Stars, and we spoke to Natalie Rasmussen today, have concerns that their horses, and this is now extended to Glenesh and Terry Schmeel's horse De Barber, have had their systems contaminated by some sort. Now, there's only three...
Potentially.
There's only 3 ways you can contaminate a horse, more or less. Either you're giving it some sort of drug and the wrong drug or too much gets into the system. I would suggest this has nothing to do with that. Secondly, there's water or food which goes into a horse's system, and that's potentially something that could have happened, or a human being or something a horse is being transported in can have a substance on it, for example like a fence post a horse can chew on, and that's how some horses get positive swabs. They do not think they're going to have positive swabs, but Greg, as Natalie said to us, we don't want to take any risks, not for the punters, not for our careers. So they have gone to the RIU and said, can you test these horses? And the RIU has therefore said, let's close these markets down. So it sounds very dramatic. I don't think this is in any way going to be a drug scandal. That's not the opinion of the Racing Board or the RIU. That's my opinion on the facts and the figures I've looked into today. I don't think this is going to be a big deal. It sounds dramatic at the moment, Greg. I would be surprised if we see any scratchings, and I would be surprised if the fabric of Saturday's meeting changes in any way, apart from the fact that you at home can't bet on them probably until around about 5 o'clock on Friday night.
We'll leave that there for now, because we still need to preview this meeting as if it was prior to 5 o'clock tonight. So we're going to do that for you and head down to Cambridge, where we have Matthew Cross and, of course, the big fish himself, Craig the Whale Thompson. Very good evening to you, boys.
Yeah, good evening to you too, Greg, and to also Michael, and to all of our viewers at home and everybody who's joined us here for dinner tonight. There's 70-odd people here at Cambridge Raceway, and they're all enjoying a 3-course meal. Craig Thompson, the best analyst in the business, as Greg O'Connor calls you anyway. What have you got for us tonight? What are you going to tell us about the form that the people at home may be interested in?
Yeah, good evening, Matt, Michael, Greg in the studio, and the viewers as well. Yeah, I'm going to go through the speed maps with you for all 9 races. We'll have a look at the mile start and how we see them coming off the gate. It's never an easy form guide to get 100% right, but we'll do our best for you, and we'll try and find a couple of winners for very good odds.
We've also got some key players to talk to here tonight. We've got Nigel McGrath and also Zach Butcher coming on stage to have a chat to us, Greg. So plenty to look forward to in the next 90 minutes. Yeah,
and you stick with us too, guys, because around the nation you can head to our Facebook page and potentially get yourself a $500 bet. Here's the page, and all you have to do, Michael, is go on there. And what are you actually doing there?
Why would they put that shot up? I'm looking at goose. So people get on the Facebook page. I'm not on Facebook.
Basically,
so I don't know how it works, Gregory. You enter the competition, then you choose a selector.
You click on whoever you'd like.
Which one of the 4?
Have your $500 bet for you.
My advice is don't pick Matt Cross.
Well, there you go. I'll go with Matt Cross, and someone's put Dashing
That was
Mick
me.
Guerin.
That was actually me.
I thought you said you didn't go on Facebook.
No, I know, but I got someone to do it for me.
Yeah,
Okay.
Anyway, we'll get to our $500 bets for you, but let's get the details in terms of this venue and this wonderful day, the 12th running of the Harness Jewels. We've got a $50,000 fast track insurance, terminating pick 6 there, $10,000 bonus first fours races 1, 5 and 9, and $20,000 into both of the quaddies 2 through 5, 6 through 9. The long range forecast is for some easterly winds, a high of 16. There is some precipitation around the area. Let's hope that it's not part of the 5 or so hours that we'll be racing out of Cambridge Raceway for their 6th Harness Jewels. It's going to be a magnificent day, Michael, isn't it?
It is. It's the better of the 2 viewing tracks for the Jewels, and it's an incredibly important day for the Waikato Racing region, Greg. If they have a barnstormer, and we'll hear later on that they've sold around 2,500 tickets pre-sold, if they have a big day, they'll get the Jewels back in 2 years. If they don't, and I'm absolutely sure they will, we come into play where Alexandra Park might try and get it off them. I want them to have a good day. I want the Jewels to stay at Cambridge.
Race 1 for us is the 2-year-old Diamond. Here's a look at the market. Now, this is one of the markets that is suspended, and you'll see those in red. The ones that are still open are in blue. So Platinum Revolution opened, 6s and $1.90, or didn't. That's the price she is now. Option 701 and 1701. Of course, the name Yarnley associated with the race name here, and we know how big of influence he's been on this region, Sandy Yarnley.
Surely has been. Now, this is an intriguing race because the best horse in the race, everybody knows, is Princess Tiffany. She's drawn the outside. She's had an injury concern, and therefore we haven't seen her at the races for a long time. And Greg, let's talk, and very shortly Wale will back this up, I'm sure. Let's talk about the basic punting philosophy for the day, because it's the most important attitude you take to the day. You think of a thoroughbred track where there's a hot track on the inside. That's Cambridge on mile day. These horses are fit, they'll race hard, and they will scream around here in 52 for the 4-year-olds, probably 54 for the 3-year-olds and maybe the 2-year-olds. And they won't come back to each other. There will be horses who swoop down the outside and win, but over the history of the Jewels at Cambridge, the horses who have been good enough to come from back in the field, Gregory, and win, going straight over top of them, have tended to go on to an Auckland Cups or be serious Group 1 horses. You will need to be very, very good to win against the pattern of the day, leaders and trailers, or in the case of the All-Stars, who now have 20 of their 21 horses drawn barrier 4 or outside, they might be good enough to sit parked. But Gregory, those horses on the speed are going to be crucial, which is why Craig's speed maps are so important to us.
Sky Major, Franco Nelson, Sir Lincoln, they're the types of horses that have been able to swoop down the outside. Let's get to Craig Thompson and have a look at the big fishes. First look at our speed map for the night.
Yeah, Greg, this is how we see it in the Diamond and how we see them coming off the gate. The Australian's drawn the inside mat here in Platinum Revolution. Back with a couple of his gate speed runs, shown a bit from the inside she has, and I thought probably would hold up from there. Armour, got a bit of gate speed, drawn probably 2 out from her. Your 2 favourites, Princess Tiffany, we haven't seen for a while. Had a trial last fortnight ago, trialled up nicely, but race day for over a month now has drawn the outside. And the stablemate Carla Marie from barrier 7. What we probably don't see on this speed map is what's happening from the second row, Matt. And probably the big winner out of this is Bazinga. I'm not saying it's good enough to win the race, but if we're thinking the Australian's your leader, from that barrier 9, won the second row, possibly your trailer, and should get a nice run.
Here's a question for you, Craig. On what you've seen of Platinum Revolution, is she good enough to get Bazinga to the lane?
Well, I think it depends on the pressure we get in the race and how long it's going to take the All-Stars pair of Kayla Marie and Princess Tiffany to get round. It may take 800 metres. It may be at the winning post or at the 800 before you see the 2 favourites get to the death or the 1-1. So it's going to have a reasonably easy middle quarter, I presume. And from there, I think probably we'll get to the lane. And the market says at $6, should be a realistic place chance.
Okay, speaking of money, let's kick the night away. And I'm going to give you $100 every race. I'm a very generous kind of bloke.
Well, what are the first course? You've got plenty. Yep.
What are you going to do? $100.
Mate, I'm thinking 50 each way on Bazinga, on the basis not thinking it's maybe a winning chance, but if you're backing Princess Tiffany at $1.95, sitting parked out for a Jewels is not an easy way to get your $1.95. I thought possibly in the trail, $2.20 a place, Bazinga, $11 a win, 50 each way on her at $9.
All right, Greg O'Connor, I think Princess Tiffany is the class act drawn the outside, and even from the draw, $1.95, take it and run.
All right, what about for you, Michael, race number 1?
Look, I do think Princess Tiffany's the best horse. I'm absolutely convinced Platinum Revolution will lead. That could have a situation where Kayla Marie's in the 1-1. And she has significantly more profit margin in her than there is in Princess Tiffany. I'll go her each way. Here is the last time she met Have Time. There's Have Time, who's number 10 in this race. She's leading on this occasion. Kayla Marie just out-toughs her. Now, Princess Tiffany was scratched from this race about a month ago with the hoof in her foot. The fact she hasn't raced for a month isn't a disaster because most of these horses haven't raced for a month. But I would say that Kayla Marie is a good little nuggety horse who will scoot around Cambridge. So I'll go her each way only because you're shopping around 4.6 for her versus the $1.90 Princess Tiffany. That's me. What about you?
Yeah, a week ago on Tuesday, those horses trialled at Ashburton, Kayla Marie and Princess Tiffany, and they both went really well. So fitness-wise, I'm expecting them to be spot on. I've gone the Quinella 7 and 8. I think they will work to park in 1-1 and they will be superior to the others. Earlier today, I had an opportunity to catch up with Australian trainer Shane Tritton, who, of course, his wife Lauren will drive Platinum Revolution. Shane, she continues a very good trend of yours, purchasing horses out of the Mark Jones barn.
Yeah, definitely. Mark's been good to me. He's found me some nice horses, and this one was bizarre how it ended up with me. I'm good friends with the guys that bred it, and then Mark picked her out for us. Like I said, that this one would suit, and just all woven together well, and she's certainly been a good buy for us.
She's done a great job. She's won a Group 3, of course. The Pink Bonnet did that in good style. What about her preparation coming to New Zealand, and when did this race come on the radar?
Yeah, definitely. For me, it was on the radar from day one because I knew she wasn't paid up for anything, and I wanted her to have a trip before she finishes her 2-year-old career just to mature her a bit. But she's definitely she's an untapped potential. No one really knows how good she is because she doesn't portray it on the track. She only does what she has to, and she's still trying to work out what to do. And I think, lucky enough, that's why we got to buy her, because she wasn't really portraying how good she was when Mark had her. And it wasn't until I had her for a while till she started to step up and show that. So I think she's got a point to prove, and it'd be good to get her as a Group 1 winner before the season's out.
Barrier 1, didn't get the visitors' draw there.
No, when they asked me what I wanted, I said, I don't know, just somewhere inside Marks would be good. But Barrier 1's great on this track, and she's fast enough to control the race, and she's very tough, and I think we at least get our opportunity.
Big travelling campaign for her, although she'd already crossed the Tasman once. How she handled it?
Yeah, great. She's pretty laid back. She handles it all, and they've both settled in super. So I've got no excuses at the moment.
Perfect stage, Shane Tritton and the Harness Jewels, isn't it? And
Cambridge and Barrier 1. This is a stable, if you don't watch a lot of harness racing in Australia, they love to lead. Usually in the pink colours, they'll be in the green Harness Jewels colours. They love the stuff. They will not be handing up on this horse or Pete's Big Jim if they lead in race 6. It'll make the race, because if you take them out of the race, Mark and Natalie's horses work forward and lead, and people go, oh, it's the same old stuff we see every week. These Australians here are going to be really crucial. Is she good enough to win? I'm not sure she's as good as those two, the 7 and the 8, but she'll be a factor in the race. And I think both their horses at some stage will give you the gasp factor where you go, hold on, maybe these favourites are under pressure here. So this one is the better winning of their 2 chances, I believe.
Yep, no doubt about that. 50 each way for Michael Guerin on Kayla Marie, his $100 spend, and my $100 Quinella, Kayla Marie and Princess Tiffany. Very interesting day for a family. Of course, the Whitelocks we speak of, they have 2 chances in race 1 and a chance with Cheerful in race 2. Let's go to a piece we did on them. Many owners would dream of having one in the Harness Jewels at the top of the leaderboard, but you and Carolina got both.
Absolute fluke, yep. You can't control those things, so absolutely thrilled.
Both Group 1 winners, as we know. Princess Tiffany, Adam's wife, Tiffany. Yep, both based over in France. Gee, she's done you proud, this girl.
Absolutely, and a bit of bad luck with the episode in Alexander Park, but we've got through that, and then the reserve came through, as it were, and now they're competing head on head, so no, it's great.
Sam Whitelock, look at him go! Sam Whitelock, please tell me this isn't
Sam, why Jules Day will be a big day for the family. It's an even bigger one for you because up the road you'll be taking on the Chiefs, of course.
Yeah, it's always a big day, Jules Days. You know, it's cool, you know, having that family connection, and we're always tuning in, no matter where we are around the world. And you know, if we're in South Africa, Mum always sends the link, so we can get onto it as soon as we wake up.
Princess Tiffany and Kayla Marie, of course, are the two fillies that have started. They both won a Group 1 now. It's pretty cool for your mum and dad, isn't it? Having reared the horses and their involvement at home with them, and then seeing them produce what they have been able to on the track.
Yeah, it's amazing. Mum and Dad take a lot of pride in it at home, and anyone that does come at home, it's the first thing to go out, you know, have a look at the horses and find out who's related to who, and bloodlines and all those things. And that's something that I think all of us boys take a real interest in as well. You know, some of that breeding stuff, and I'm sure in time we'll get involved in the game somewhere.
These horses aren't reflective of the stature of the Whitelock family, because in particular, Kayla Marie, your father towers over.
Yeah, Kayla's pretty small, but the best thing is she's just got that heart and desire, and you see that way, the way she runs. You know, sometimes she finishes strong when she's had a real tough race, and you know, that's something that Kayla, you know, George's wife played that way as a hockey player, so it's pretty cool to see that.
Twist and twirl, oh baby's away for Natalie Rasmussen, and the brightest diamond of balls in Oh Baby. Second over.
Now, Oh Baby was your first Jules winner at Cambridge, so there's a whole lot of significance around the Cambridge track and what it'll mean to you being there in 2018.
Yep, and the reality is you could have one of the more favoured horses and still not be successful, so the reality is very much there, but just to have it there and have the whole event and be around the hype of it and the rugby down the road afterwards is, you know, be outstanding.
What about race day for them and game day for you? Will that allow you probably not to get to Cambridge, but certainly take in the 2-year-old Diamond, because it'll be well worth a look from the family's point of view?
Yeah, there'll be an opportunity for us to watch, but we probably won't be there in person. We'll have team things, line-outs, etc. So be glued to my phone watching it, but it's one of those ones, Mum and Dad, I think they've planned already, go from there to the game and time frames and stuff, and no doubt they'll be able to fit as much in at the Jules and then also the rugby as well.
Your day is going to be a pretty unique occasion.
Yeah, we might have to pace ourselves a bit, I suppose, more ways than one.
And a big thank you to the Whitelocks making themselves available. That was after they took on New South Wales, and of course he had a pretty tough game, did Sam, and well, we don't know whether he's going to be playing on Saturday night. That side gets named tomorrow, but we do wish them all very good luck in the duels. And of course the second of those races is the 2-year-old Ruby, where they have the filly Cheerful, the filly by Muscles Yankee, at a Super Bowl cheerleader that they purchased at the sales, and she is at $26. Of course, Enhance Your Karma $1.45. We'll get to Oscar Bonavina very shortly with Michael Guerin, but let's get to Craig Thompson and of course Matthew Cross in regards to how this is going to unfold early.
Craig, 2-year-old trotters, a little bit different to the paces, I suppose. Enhance Your Karma got out of the gate good last time. Oscar Bonavina, now with the Purdon Rasmussen team, drawn the second row. And we've got one of Roger's runners in here as well as a Southlander by the name of Full Noise. Give me your assessment of the start here as to what will unfold.
Well, a lot of these trotters, Matt, and a lot of them have had limited careers. They've only raced 3 or 4 times. And Enhance Your Karma's always showed good gate speed, and it's got a nice barrier draw, barrier number 4. She Reigns is a horse that's had 4 or 5 starts and led in all of them, or parked out. She's drawn a little bit wider, but she's got good gate speed. Just watching the Cambridge workout here on Saturday, I thought Full Noise got out nice enough. I know it was only a couple in it, but showed enough gate speed that I think if they pushed the go button on him early, he certainly could settle inside the top 3. So I think the gate speed will come from 2, 3 and 7, but the favourite's posied up in the nice spot.
Tickle Me Pink, drawn the outside gate. Where do you find her in the running?
Well, she's a filly that has got good gate speed, but she's drawn out wide enough that she's having to go forward, but she's going to be wide on the track. And being a 2-year-old trotter, you don't want to go too quickly into that first bend. Ricky May picking up the drive, be his first drive on her. So he doesn't know a lot about the filly. I think you want to get around that first bend safely, and then she'll push forward.
I can only afford another $100 for you, so do your best here, 2-year-old trotters. $1.45. You couldn't back them outright, could you?
No, you can't. And I think 3 of the 4 favourites are under $1.50 on the 9 races are trotters. So if they're going to get beaten, it possibly could be in the 2-year-old trot. I quite like the stablemate. I'm very keen on Oscar Bonavina. I thought his run unbeaten second last start had as much merit as the winner. I think if you'd reversed the draws, you would have reversed the result. And what, Matt, is the key to this? Follows out Enhance Your Calm. Going to get a lovely run through. I
think you can stand about in Quinellas here, boys. Enhance Your Calm with Tickle Me Pink and Oscar Bonavina, who has recently changed hands.
Yeah, certainly, Matthew. Outside of what we had to open with tonight, Michael Guerin, the sale of Oscar Bonavina only a couple of days ago would have been the biggest news story of the day.
Only got vetted yesterday and changed stables from Phil Williamson to Mark Purdon and Natalie. Now, usually when a horse changes stable to the All-Stars, you think it'll get better. Two things, not enough time, and secondly, Phil Williamson is a very, very good trainer of trotters. I don't see this being an assistant to the horse immediately. Maybe it will be long term, but Phil's record of the Jewels is outstanding. Oscar Bonavina is a very good horse. I think he might be a better horse than Enhance Your Calm, but he's going to need to be significantly better at Cambridge. If you're in the running line at Cambridge and the horse you are trying to beat is inside you, you lose about 1.75 to 2 lengths per bend. Now, in a mile race, the first bend's largely irrelevant because they're all moving and all over the place and quite wide. But if you're sitting parked, you've got to be 4 lengths better. Now, lots of things come into play there, lactic acid build-up and how hard you have to burn to get to the lead. But if you get there for comparable amounts of energy, Greg, you need to be 4 lengths better to sit parked. Is Oscar 4 lengths better than Enhance Your Calm? Well, I don't think so. We've got a couple of videos here to show you. Enhance Your Calm has been very, very professional so far. Now, here he is the last time they met. Enhance Your Calm's on the inside in the Jewels colours. Oscar is outside him in the former trainers' colours. He's attacked him. He looks like he's going to beat him. Enhance Your Calm fights back. I agree with Craig. I thought Oscar was better here, but Greg, he wasn't 4 lengths better.
He was outstanding though, and I believe that he would have come off that run, and with the travel up there, he'll be an even more experienced horse, if you like. But yeah, it's hard to suggest that he'd be 4 lengths better. Here's a real mover. This is a performance, Full Noise.
This is a good horse, really good horse. If he had 4 or 5 more starts, I would think he could win this race. This is him beating the older horses at Invercargill. Very professional, only had the 1 start. Went to the workouts at Cambridge last week, trotted very squarely and easily accounted for. She Reigns. This is a very good horse. This horse can win, but he'll need to be significantly better than the other 2 to beat them with his lack of experience. And you know, coming at only like a smaller stable, second start, there's so many things against him, but he can win. He's the real deal. This filly, Gregory, is eminently lovable. Tickle Me Pink.
She's outstanding. She's going to have to be, though, from the wide draw. But unfortunately, Tony Hurley out of play with the injury he copped a couple of weeks ago, but doesn't lose a whole lot in Artie May.
No, he doesn't. And barrier 1 or 2, it's really in play. From out there, I think she's going to need the 3, the 4 and potentially the 12 to have some bad luck or even a potential gallop to beat them. Because on what I've seen of her, she is very, very good, but she isn't any better than those other 3 boys. I can see a situation where Enhance Your Calm gets off the gate like Craig said it would. Crucial part for me is, can Full Noise hold its gate, and it trotted very squarely off the gate at the workouts on Saturday, and get to its back? If it does, it's massively in play. If it doesn't, then it gets back in the wash and luck becomes a bit more important. Adds to, of course, Greg, do manners. For me, I hate to do this, I don't often take Quinellas, but I think there's no value in the favourite. I do think you can take it with Full Noise and Oscar Bonavina. Spend your $100 or your $10 at home and have that split Quinella. I think Enhance Your Calm won't miss top 2, but I wouldn't be stunned, Greg, if either of those horses beat him.
Yeah, I'm each way on Oscar Bonavina, and of course Full Noise, Brett Gray and Brent Barclay, 2 very talented southern horsemen combined, and it'll be competitive in that, I'm sure of that. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Don't forget about the weanling sale. You can go and have a look at the horses the day before at Karaka, 1 till 4 o'clock, and they sell them the next day, 10 a.m. You might find your next Jewels runner there. We'll take a short break, come back and continue our preview of Harness Jewels 2018. Welcome back into your box seat with Sweet Lou, of course, standing at Woodlands. Race number 3 for us is the Brompton Horse Transport, and it is for the 3-year-old fillies. Hot favourite here, the New Zealand Oaks winner in She's All Rock. Just back to that sale too. So parade is 1 till 4 Thursday afternoon, and the sale being the following day, Friday, 10 a.m. Go to standardbred.co.nz if you haven't got yourself a catalogue. So $1.33 She's All Rock. Better Joy crawled by the draw, $8.80 the price for her. Maybe a better place price at $1.90. And of course, Ali Mac, the other one that we'll have a look at, $4.20 and $1.20. Standing by, the defending champion, if you like, from the 2 to 3-year-old is Dizzy Miss Lizzie, trained by Nigel McGrath, who's with Matthew Cross.
Thank you, Greg. Yes, I've caught up with Nigel McGrath. He's jumped away from his dinner to have a chat about Dizzy Miss Lizzie, and also has run later on in the card in Sheriff. Dizzy Miss Lizzie, Nigel, first of all, what went wrong through the preparation in your opinion?
Look, I don't really know, to be honest, Matt. Look, she was great at first start back in the season. Christmas time, she was fantastic. She ran second. And look, after that, it's just been downhill. And look, it's been a real big disappointment, to be fair, for that filly, for the ability she's got. But look, I think she's her last start. I think she showed a glimpse of her getting back to normal, I think.
What do you think you did yourself as a trainer to get it to that point? Is there anything that you changed?
Yeah, look, probably done everything I possibly could and tried everything I could. So, look, it's probably a combination of a lot of things. Probably don't really know which one actually worked, but just a matter of trying and trying really hard to get it back. And you can't turn them around overnight, so once they start going bad, it's really hard to get them going good again. So, look, she's, I think, slowly coming right, and her last start was great. And, look, so far, work up here has been fantastic too.
Yeah, OK, so are you confident that she's travelled up in good order?
Yeah, she's done it all before, and, look, she travelled up good, and she settled in well, and, like I said, her work up here has been back to normal. So, look, I'm going to give a nice run around Cambridge track tomorrow morning, and all going well. She should nearly step out old Lizzie.
What about off the arm? Do you see her finding the markers first?
Yeah, I do, actually. I think she's pretty quick off the arm. If Blair decides to do that, it's up to him. But if he really wants to chase her out, I know he can get out pretty quick.
Would there therefore be a chance that she could stay in front, or would the lead be there for a horse drawn out wide, maybe one of the favourites?
No, look, my job is just to get a spot on the day, and look, Blair doesn't interfere too much in my training, and I don't interfere too much in his driving, so look, there'll be no driving instructions, and if Blair doesn't know what to do by now, he never will.
It sounds like Greg O'Connor and myself, to be fair. What about Sheriff? How's he travelled up?
Good. No, I'm really pleased with Sheriff. He's, like I said, he's a bit like Lizzie. He's been up 2 or 3 times before, so he's travelled up really nice, and look, he's done well. What
were the reports from Todd Mitchell on the workout here the other day?
He had a quiet run at the workouts here at Cambridge, have a look around the track, and no, Todd phoned me up straight afterwards, and he was really pleased. He said, look, he didn't need to do much more than he done, and he seemed pretty happy.
Would there be a chance that tactically it could be the same as Dizzy Miss Lizzie for him?
Yeah, look, Blair has indicated he might go to the front with him, but there's probably 4 or 5 other drivers with the same idea. So, look, he'll probably make the call after the first half furlong. So, look, I'll probably leave it up to Blair.
Looking for another Group 1 this season. Nigel McGrath, all the best on Saturday.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
There he is, Greg.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew. Always great to catch up with Nigel. He's pretty forthright. He clearly is not going to give Blair any driving instructions, but it would seem pretty formulaic, Michael, that both of those horses have to go forward.
If it jumps to the lead, Dizzy Miss Lizzie, we'll deal with Sheriff later. I'm certain that any horse who gets to the lead in this race, unless it's Ali Mac, She's All Rock, will get the lead off it on what she did at the Oaks at Addington last time out. Craig, what did you make of the speed map here? Because I think whoever gets to the lead is crucial, because most of us are thinking She's All Rock. If she comes knocking on the door's going to be open.
I think you're right, Michael. Her speed in Australia and the barrier draw that she's come up with from barrier 5 puts her in the right spot. Let's have a look at how we see them coming off the gate over the mile. The Australian's very quick out. There's a couple inside her that can leave the gate nicely too. Come Dance With Me is a real gate flyer, and she comes into 3. She was a ballot, gets in with a scratching of Kotari Cullen, Matt, so she's in the right draw to get across them early. With her is Dizzy Miss Lizzie, so it's which one of those two will get there first to look to hand as She's All Rock. And then you're out wide to DeBarber. She crossed them in the Oaks to lead from a similar draw, but she's 1 spot out wider here. Not so easy for her, boys. So I think she's a horse that'll go forward, but probably into the breeze.
If they do hand up the lead to She's All Rock, are they handing the race over?
Well, I think they are, but you've got to remember there's very good money here, Matt, for second and third placings. And if you've got your favourite boring it up for you at $1.35, I mean, do you really want to be undone at the 400-metre mark? If you hand to the right one, which is probably the favourite, you sit in the trail, you have your opportunity up the passing lane. If you're good enough, you'll win, but you're likely to get money.
At what point of the night are you going to give me $100 to spend? I keep just giving it to... Just
where
giving
is
it
your
away.
$100 going here? Is it going on the $1.35?
Where is it going? I did write it down. Trifecta here.
Trifecta?
We're going to stand out the 5.
Right.
She's All Rock, which I think she'll win. Ellie Mack to run into second, and then runners 2 and 8 for third. Dizzy Miss Lizzie and Delighted Me. As an astute form analyst, is that a good bet or is that a bad bet? $100.
Well, for me, I'm not keen on taking short price favourites on the day. As you see earlier on, I've gone a little bit of rough with Barzinger. This is a lock-in for the day. One bet, if you're having one bet on the day, She's All Rock on the performance in the Oaks will win.
Maximum bet job there, Greg.
Yeah, $100 straight out for Craig Thompson. Let's go and have a look as to why Michael Guerin, she could have done no more than what she did first up here in New Zealand.
And what's most important here is that's Ellie Mack on her back. So it's not like it's an inferior horse. This was the long-time Jules favourite. She doesn't beat her, she thrashes her. Now, we do know that Ellie Mack had a slight virus and has improved since. But, Greg, she's off the second line unless there's a very unusual situation where she lands in front of She's All Rock and muscles her way through the pack. And I don't see that happening. It's maybe 20 to 1 that's going to happen. It's impossible on what we see there to make a case Ellie Mack can sit parked and outside She's All Rock and beat her. It's impossible to make that case. I can't take $1.35 to find out, but Ellie Mack is very, very good. Here is the start before. This is a week before. She's in the Harness Jewels colours again. She beats all these other fillies, but not She's All Rock, and that's the key factor here. So what we see here is two things. First of all, Ellie Mack is better than the New Zealand fillies. And what we saw in the next video is that She's All Rock is at least as good, if not better, than Ellie Mack. Impossible to back anything else for a win. I don't want to back Ellie Mack at the price she's going to be at, which should be around about $4.80 from the second line. I'll go trifectas only because I think this is a rare race all day where if the favourite does come looking for the lead, Greg, I'm sure it will get there. I think She's All Rock will lead. I do think that Dizzy Miss Lizzie might be the first horse there in hand to her, and therefore she's the horse you need in your trifectas. Gold Orchid's got a sneaky chance, and Ellie Mack also. So you need to mix those up in your trifectas, but definitely with She's All Rock on top.
All right, I'm going to take the lead from Nigel McGrath that he's a lot happier with where Dizzy Miss Lizzie is. She is a Group 1 winner. She beat Ellie Mack in the 2-year-old Diamond, of course. So I'm just going for her at play. She's around $2.80.
Tote or fixed?
Well, I'd take the fix now, $2.80. She won't pay more than that on the tote, particularly...
when the market reopens.
Well, when it reopens, that's absolutely right. This market is open.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
well,
there you go. So it's in blue. It is open.
I thought with DeBarber being part of the market.
Oh, no,
this is the next one.
This is the next one.
We've jumped forward a race. Race 4, eh? Actually, I thought this was one of the trickiest races of the day.
Not an easy one at all. Sea Swift Joy there, $4.80 into $4.40. Juice Brogdon has gate speed. We'll talk about that with Craig shortly. There's been a big move here. Delishka, 14s into 7s. I'm not surprised by that. Bonnie Joan. Now, speaking of horses that are crawled by the door.
Yes, this is the biggest barrier draw news of the week. Bonnie Joan was drawn behind Sea Swift Joy, who leaves the gate quite well. This is a good thing. All of a sudden, we have a scratching of Carlos Pixel. Bonnie Joan goes to 1 on the second line. She's now behind Christiana, who's 90 to 1.
Not good.
She's gone from about $3.20 to $4.80. She should have gone from about $3.20 to $7. I'm not saying she can't win, but she is going to need a Dexter-sized miracle to pull this off.
Yep, she definitely is. We're going to head back to Matt Cross right on cue because he is with Zachary Butcher.
Here he is. He's with me, Greg O'Connor, the man who has had many steers around here. Say hello to the boys.
How are you, boys?
Yeah, nice to have Zach on the show. Tell me about driving around Cambridge. Put you on the spot a little bit. What's different, Jules-wise, Cambridge to Ashburton, apart from the size of the track?
Oh, it's pretty much the same, I reckon. It's fun. The racing's quick, and I think, yeah, it's just exciting to be out there, really.
Let's talk about some of your drives. You've got one key drive we'll start with, Star Galleria. What did you think when the phone call came? How good?
Oh, I felt bad for Tony, but I was pretty excited at the same time. But, hey, hopefully if we get him home, I can buy Tony a couple of beers at the pub the week after.
Been sitting at home watching all the tapes over and over again?
Oh yeah, a little bit. You know, you got to do, I think, so much form, but then just, you know, read it as you see it and drive the race how it comes. So, like, I don't really know what's going to happen. I've gone through it and there's 10 different scenarios in my mind, but hopefully the one that works was the one with us winning.
Let's talk about Halftime in race number 1, a horse who's won a feature race already this season. What are you expecting from her?
She should go a good race. You know, Barry, I've driven for him for a while now, and he always seems to have him 100% on the big days. So, look, the draw hasn't completely helped us, but I think we can find a handy enough little posse there that if we can get back out onto one of those good horses back, she'll be right there at the finish.
Star Galleria, the one you're looking forward to, though?
Yeah, I think so. You know, he's got a lot of horse flesh and he's pretty fast. So if he gets the right run on Jules Day and they go hard early, you know, he's the sort of horse that could bomb them, you know, a bit like a Sky Major.
What about the season for you so far? You been pleased with how it's gone?
Yeah, rap. You know, I haven't had a lot of drives. I've just started travelling back down to the old trusty Palmerston North. So, you know, just starting to tick along a wee bit again and getting the winners, you know. So that's the main thing, and winning a couple of big races, and come Jules Day, that's what it's all about. So that's what I'm looking forward to now.
Do you have any rituals leading into the big days? Of course, you've got racing on Friday night. What does Zach Butcher do leading into the Group 1s?
I try to run, but I haven't got round to that this week. You know, just get in the zone, get your mind focused, and think about the occasion in the moment and enjoy it as much as you can.
All the best, Zach.
Appreciate it, mate.
There you go, Greg. He'll be trying to do what Sky Major did 3 times, once with Star Galleria.
Yeah, 4-year-old Diamond, he'll be aboard Opotama. Again, second row draw, not ideal for her.
Tell you what, this is the race of the day where there could be a lot of speed because there's no dominant horse on the front line. So all of a sudden, we'll get Craig's speed map in a sec, but Seaswift Joy, Juice Brogden, Delishka can all go forward. Even American Empress likes to press. And this could be a race which sets itself up for horses coming from the back. Do not be backing horses you expect to come from the back as a habit on the day because it's going to be an awfully hard way to make money. But I think there's one in this. Utmost Delight might be the most in form and potentially even best mare in this race. And if they burn up early, I can see things maybe panning out for Ricky May to get it to the outside and over the top. Craig, as we come to you, I thought the gate speed here from 2, 3 and 5, potentially even 8. Who ends up in front?
Talk to me, Craig.
Well,
speed.
Mate, it's one of the fastest front rows we've seen in a long time. Juice Brogden's probably the quickest one, but it has to get past Seaswift Joy, and I can see James Stormont doing his very best to hold up as we look at the movers off the gate over the mile here. And Juice Brogden from 3, I think, will have to go forward. It's got the draw to use it, and it's been very quick out. I know Nicky's very happy with it. The trial the other day, Matt, with Star Galleria was the best it's gone for a long time, so I think they're in a right zone at the moment. Delishka's the one for me that I think is flying under the radar a lot. I thought her ladyship defeat was very good. She won the Cordina as the lead up to the ladyship in Australia in 151. Her runs in New Zealand have all had a lot of merit, and I think at $14 she was way overs. Now that $7 at the moment is probably the right price for her, but I was very keen on her, Matt, and I thought on a day where there's a lot of shorties, she was the clear value of the day, and I was quite happy to take the $8.50.
If Juice Brogden finds the top, will that be it? Will it be the only leader in the race?
I would think so. She's, I know, a mare that's probably more capable of following the speed and coming off their backs, but they've got to use the draw. And who do you hand to? If you hand to Seaswift Joy, if it comes back round again, does it hand to something else? So I think Nicky's got to sum up the race, work out if the right one she hands to isn't going to hand to anyone else, and play it from there. But what I would say about Utmost Delight, had she drawn anywhere other than for the second row, she was $2 in this race. Her form out of that Star Galleria race last week was outstanding. The barrier draw's not great, Matt, but she's a mare that I think is good enough to sit parked and win.
Another $100 for you. Do your best.
Well, mate, I'm going 50 each way on Delishka. I think she's a very good mare. I think if she had to sit outside one, it wouldn't worry her. Very good stayer, good each way.
I'll go 50 each way and Utmost Delight too, Greg.
Thank you, Matthew. Both Michael and I have gone the same as Craig Thompson. That's a rarity for the Jules.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. I think as we're getting closer to the day, I'm actually going to warm to backing Utmost Delight, but I'm also going to try and talk myself out of it. Her trainer, Stephen Reid, caught up with Craig to talk about that second line barrier draw.
Oh, really good whale. I thought the run was really good and the recovery was great.
Again, no luck with a draw, second row, and this one's really not ideal.
No, it's not, and especially with probably 2 of her bigger opposition drawing it off the front and down in handy draws. But you know what? I've got a lot of confidence in this horse. If it wasn't a mile and it was like, say, even 1,700, I'd think she still can win it. She still can win it, but she's probably going to need to either A, make her own luck, or B, to have something dramatic happen in the race. But mark my words, she's a very good mare, and she's not without a winning chance.
Yeah, the Group 1 winner of the Breeders. I'm going to go against Craig here. I don't think Juice Brogdon will get across Sea Swift Joy. In fact, if they'd been 1-2, I'll guarantee that.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree. Sea Swift Joy is very, very good. Now, here she is beating Utmost Delight 2 starts ago, but Utmost Delight's in the trail here, but wasn't ready. So don't put too much steed on this. Spoke to James Stormont, we both have. The scratching of her last week, he believes could be a blessing in disguise. He believes it's freshened her up. She's a very good chance of leading, and if she leads, he will not be handing up. But there's going to be 3 or 4 drivers here, Greg, who want to be in the same spot, which opens up the potential for the race to open up for Utmost Delight. And of course, Bonnie Joan, if, and it's an awfully big if, she can get the gap. This could be functionally one of the races of the day for moves and horses coming home late over the top. It actually stacks up beautifully because the better horses are on the second line.
South Island versus North Island. It's 10-1 in this category, which is quite a staggering
to the
stat.
South Island.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, amazing.
But technically, Mark Purdon's not a South Islander, and Natalie Rasmussen's from
I knew
Queensland.
you'd come up with something.
What about your money?
Well, 50 each way, Deliska, and you're doing the same.
I'm sort of going the same, but I've got a funny feeling on race day when people ring me in the morning, which they will. I'll be saying to them, back up Utmost Delight. As we get closer to the race and the Bonnie Joan change of barrier draw, Utmost Delight is slowly starting to come into play. So my bet might change, as it might for a couple, but this is one race in particular.
Yeah, Deliska, her performances here in New Zealand, October and then December, she went 152 at Ashburton twice, and then obviously...
She's broken 150.
Her performance against Carlos
At the
Pixel.
Ladyship Mile, she broke 150. But she doesn't look exhausted to me, but there's a few horses racing at this meeting who I think it's been a long season for them.
It has been.
And it's a lot longer season if you go across the Tasman, and it's a lot longer season if you go up from the islands, north-south, north-south. She's been down to like Roxburgh. I don't even know where that is, but I'm sure it's awfully close to Antarctica. So, look, she's got to be tired. If Brad can pull this off, I think she can lead from in front, and she can win from there.
Yep.
I would like to see a win for Maddie Williamson because Maddie's lost the drive on Oscar Bonavina, which was his horse, and it's been sold, and that's business. But I would like to see him get a chance to win a Jules with this horse.
Race number 5, Crow Harworth 4-year-old Ruby. It is, and it is in blue, therefore you can bet into it. In Hine, $1.45 out to $1.50. A BB Inter, who I know Michael's very keen on, is a $4.20 clear second favourite.
Now, we need to tell you the story here of Greg Hope. Now, Greg Hope has both Ingheim and AG's White Sox, who's one of the favourites, if not the favourite, for race 7 on the card. Greg left on Sunday morning to go to Cambridge. He's getting there right now, if you're watching this live on Wednesday night. What's happened was the ferry had no crossings on Sunday night into Monday and into Tuesday. So Greg couldn't get across. He's got 2 horses on the trailer float, 2 of the favourites for the Jules. So this is true, I'm not making this up. He goes back to his sister's place, who lives in Seddon, and she's got a vineyard on part of the property, and he jogs the horses around the vineyard. And he said it was quite refreshing. I quite liked it. It was quite nice. I think the horses enjoyed it. Then he took them to Blenheim to the Water League track and fast worked them yesterday. And he said, we haven't lost any fitness, but I'm not going to know how long or how much this long trip has taken out of them. Now, Ingheim's a horse who doesn't need a lot to upset him, Greg. He has had a setback. He's arrived in Cambridge now 3 days before the event, and he has had the ability to fast work. But we wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't tell you he has had an interrupted preparation, and that could be a percentage tipping basis, just to go maybe Habib Dienta just maybe comes into play a bit more.
Yeah, well, he is flying at the moment. So what's going to happen when the gate rolls, Craig Thompson?
Well, Greg, I'm thinking it's not an overly quick front row here. Habibi Inter's never shown gate speed, but has the right draw mat to go forward as we bring this market up the Ruby. I think from the inside, may be able to hold him into the first bend. It's then whether Blair Orange is quite happy to let Ricky May go. Ingheim gets off the gate okay, but not brilliantly, but posied up at barrier 3. Smoky Mac led from a mile at Winton from barrier 5 at its last start. I think they wouldn't be surprised if it goes forward from out wide, Matt, but this is not a quick front row, so the 2 favourites with the 2 inside draws hold the cards.
Let's talk about the Australian Raider draw on the second row, Dance Craze, a horse that I'm sure you've had a chance to have a look at. How do you line it up against our New Zealand form?
Well, it's very difficult because the Australian form versus the New Zealand form, and because it's drawn the second row, Matt, it follows out Sartorius. Now, Sartorius is a horse that's come off the unruly, gets back into the draw here at Barrier 2. It's really dictated what Sartorius does off the gate. David will drive it, I'm sure, how he sees it in front of him. He probably can just sit back and see what unfolds from the gate. But I think very, very nice mare Dance Craze, but the draw puts in the wrong spot.
Musculus is obviously the horse that everybody be cheering home with their hearts, of course, owned by the estate of the late Neil Pilcher. Let's talk betting with him, though. Is he good enough to run into in this race?
I think he's a horse that's on the improve. I think he went through a patch. I know Philip Ego said to me probably 3 or 4 months ago, the horse is just not right. We saw that through Cup Week. He started favourite, I think, in the loose class trot in November, and he was disappointing there. What he's probably got, Matt, is he only ever had one start at Cambridge, and it was a winning run. So he likes this track. He's got the advantage of now having Mark having him for an extra week or two leading into the Gills. Very rarely you see a all-star trotter at around about $6.50. So I think he's a top 3 chance, absolutely.
Okay, I'll take a box trifecta, 1, 3, 4 and $900 spends. What are you going to do?
Mate, I can't take $1.40 around Inghine. As I said, the trotters, they're very short, all 3 categories. I think if you're going to take a Quinella, work around Habibi into from the inside. And I was quite keen on Musculus to run in at least the top 3. So a $50 Quinella favourite with 1 and 4.
Greg O'Connor, Musculus, one of 3 trotters that will be in on Saturday that have been purchased outside of the All-Stars barn into the All-Stars barn. Something that we don't often see.
No, hasn't happened a lot in the history of the Harness Jewels, nor for that stable, obviously. But let's have a look at Inghine. I thought his trotting performance at Addington Raceway a couple of weeks ago was the best I've seen him trot in a long, long time, Michael.
Very, very square. And this is 1950 from a mobile, which is crucial because it's close enough to what the Jewels is. He was able to work to the parked position, which I think he'll probably try and do again. But I like the fact he was square, there was no mucking around. Until then, I thought he was in trouble, but that was the performance that said to me he is clearly the horse to beat. But Habibi Inter is probably not that different to him. I think the gap is closed. I thought in a real market, they were $2 and $3. The fact it's $1.40, $1.50-ish versus $4.20 makes Habibi Inter one of the better value options of the day. They took him to the workouts at Rangiora last week. They were happy Harry trotted off the gate. Blair told me last night he thinks he can lead. If he leads and this version of Habibi Inter turns up, Gregory, he's going to be awfully hard to catch. I think Inghine might be a better horse, but the price discrepancy is big enough that I'm keen to find out.
It's almost unreal to think 2 years ago he was favourite for the 2-year-old section, this horse, and he never won at 3 at all, but he knows how to win now. This was a really dominant performance. That was Ismok running into 2nd position. He's had 1 run since that and actually follows out Habibi Inter and therefore has a part to play trifectas and first 4 wise.
I spoke to Paul Nean last night. I said, any reason not to expect him to race up to this type of form? He said, none. We're very happy with the horse. He thinks he'll have gate speed from Barrier 1, as does Blair. They're going to try and lead. If Inghine sits parked outside him and beats him, well, that's just fair. He's just too good. Dance Craze is pretty good. Now, you put her in a good barrier draw and she'd be hard to catch. There's not as much depth in the trotters in Victoria as we are used to here. Here she is at the Rat, or Ballarat, and the mile rate's pretty good, and she was very impressive. Beautifully bred and a like Kukaracha. She can definitely be a factor in the race. David Butcher, I believe, is the best Cambridge driver I've ever seen, but I do think she's going to need to probably do something special or have a galloper to win this race.
All right, your bet is each way on the 1?
Yeah, I'm going each way on the 1. Paul Nean, Barrier 1, and Inghine does have a few tricks. I think Inghine might win, but the discrepancy in the dividends is a lot larger than it should be.
In terms of that terminating pick 6, I'm just going straight out here. I'll be anchoring Inghine and I'd be backing him straight out. Yep. Yep, that'll do me. He's the best horse in the race. We're about to take a quick break. By the way, drivers in that race will be wearing the black armbands, of course, to acknowledge the passing of Neil Pilcher. Short break. When we return, we've still got plenty of Jewels action for you. Macmillan Equine 2-year-old Emerald is the first leg of the final quaddie. Don't forget $20,000 bonus into both quaddies. And here is our market. Pete's Big Jim, we'll hear from trainer Shane Tritton shortly. Sevens and $1.90, another masterpiece who beat Jessie Duke in the Sale Series final, $2.80. The Sire Stakes winner, Jessie Duke, of course, $2.30, and the Young Guns final winner. He was a better act at 13's holding New Zealand record. Wardan Delight, Michael Guerin won the Sapling Stakes and the Kindergarten, which would normally be enough to see it close to favourite.
Two really interesting things in play here. First of all, Pete's Big Jim trialled on 153 last week at Menangle. Newcomer to the Shane Tritton stable, likely leader, but his overall record is not at the same level as another masterpiece in Jessie Duke. The 4 All-Stars are drawn the outside. I'll be very interested in what Craig thinks is going to happen here, because I reckon 3 of them, at least 3 of them, just keep going forward, and it could change outside the leader. No matter how you dice it, on their last start, Jessie Duke has to be the horse to beat. But the real key to the race is, if Pete's Big Jim holds the lead, can you afford to hand up to your stablemate and get shuffled back another place? Or do they go to war on the leader? This is the race where I have absolutely no idea what tactics are going to be employed. Craigie, I'm sure you've done the videos on Pete's Big Jim. We know the Tritton modus operandi. Is he our leader?
Michael, I think he probably is. From what I'm seeing, he's got good gate speed. I don't think I'd say, Michael, a lot of the tracks I've looked at his gate speed have been country tracks. I know he's had a couple of runs in the city, but inside draw, he's got to go forward. The stable do that. As we look at the 1,600 metre starting point, we see him going forward. I see another masterpiece going forward as well. He showed good gate speed in his last 3, and of the All-Stars runners, he's the most favoured in the draws. Major Express led here at Cambridge 3 starts ago, has good gate speed drawn between them, and then you get out to the favourite who's at barrier 6 and Jessie Duke. But to answer your question, Michael, I think the Aussie will be lighting it up early from the mile start and probably leading. I'm not sure I can see him there though at the end of the mile.
Is there one out of the 4 All-Stars drawn the front row that you could see potentially just going hammer and tong at all costs going for the top?
Not really. I think another masterpiece is the most likely to get there early, but I think what it does do is it helps the train, because you've got 3 stablemates drawn at 5, 6 and 7, Matt, and that always helps in a race. I think another masterpiece goes forward, then Jessie Duke, and then a better act. So numbers, it's a great thing in harness racing.
Did Wardan Delight go good enough last start to warrant respect here?
Mate, he went like he trialled. We highlighted him on the Whale Watch. He trialled very ordinary and he raced very ordinary. Now he's drawn barrier 8. That was 2 weeks ago. Mark Purdon's a very good trainer. Going to have to do a lot different in the last fortnight.
Of those drawn the second row, is there anything to your appeal there?
Trojan Banner, only if the Aussie can get it to the passing lane. I think he's very, very underrated. I think Zachary Butcher picks up the drive. He's been very good. He raced against the good horses at the park last Friday night. The older horses performed very well. Hey, $6 a place, I think he was. I'm not sure what he's at the moment. He's an outside first 4 chance. And the horse that's impressed me off the clock, if you're looking at one and you think, well, geez, what do I chuck in my first 4 at $40? Supreme Dominator is running the best sectionals of any 2-year-old going around at the moment. He's just got a horrible draw. Master Trainer, Ricky May picks up the drive. If he got on the train, don't leave him out of your first 4.
$100?
I'm going here with Jessie Duke straight out at the 230.
All right, I'll take $100 Quinella, 5 and 6, another masterpiece, and Jessie Duke. Who knows which one will be winning on Saturday, but I think it'll be one of those 2 gents.
Yeah, their 2 runs most recently are the ones we're going to highlight for you. Here's Jessie winning the Sires, and just couldn't have gone any better, Michael.
No, and there's another masterpiece in front, and Jessie Duke in the harness jewels colours. This was a reversal by about 2 lengths on the second video we're going to show you a week apart, or sorry, 2 weeks apart. He's always indicated he might be the most talented horse in this crop, and another masterpiece seemed to close that gap, but I think when he beat him 2 weeks earlier, another masterpiece was clearly fitter, and Jessie Duke clearly had improved on that. I think he goes into Saturday the best horse in the race. The one thing I would say is he probably has no option to blast across and lead. He's not that sort of horse. Whereas another masterpiece, if he gets across to the lead, would change the complexion of the race. Here it is, this is 2 weeks earlier. Again, same 2 horses, another masterpiece in front. Jessie Duke coming wider, and Greg, he looked like a horse who wasn't fit enough on this occasion.
Yeah, I agree, and he definitely bounced off it. Another masterpiece, just kept on kicking. He was very strong. Craig's right about Supreme Dominator. His runs have been quite exceptional, but it's going to need to happen again. 6 of the 11 runnings of the 2-year-old Emerald have resulted in the favourite winning, so it's one of the better races in that regard.
Yeah, and a very deep field this year. A lot of these horses, as Craig said, Trojan Banner raced against good horses last week, up to the rating 70 type band. You spoke to Shane Tritton earlier today at Alexandra Park, and Pete's Big Jim, as a newcomer to his stable, could hold the key to the race.
Shane, this could be the story of the entire Jules program.
Yeah, if he won, yeah, it'd be interesting because, you know, he was probably, a lot of guys would probably put their head on the chopping block to get him into the race, and I'm confident that he's going to hold their heads high.
Tell us about his early preparation. He effectively came out of the bush.
He did. A trainer called Stacey Elliott picked him out from the Ready to Run. They bought him for the owner, and look, she done a super job. He was a raw talent from day one. Probably should have won the first big race at Leeton and got knocked over. Come out and run second in the Sapling, and they went 52 in that. It was a great run. I actually tried to buy him off that run, and not for sale. And then, you know, fortune comes our way. The horse ended up with offered to us to bring to the Jules, and we've had him for 3 weeks now. And yeah, he's, you know, I would have paid double what I offered to start with if I could get him now.
Shane, what's his greatest attribute?
He tries his heart out. I think that's why he's been such a raw talent from day one. He does try, and it doesn't matter how hard you go or how fast you ask him. He just tries to go as fast as you ask him to. So I think in a racehorse, that's 80% what they need. So we just give him the tools, and hopefully he can do that.
Shane, barrier 1 again, advantageous?
Oh, definitely. He probably needed to draw one. The filly probably could have sat parked and be tough enough to be there, but he probably needed the draw. He's just such a raw talent, and look, he was probably going to be 100 to 1 2 weeks ago, but yeah, I wouldn't be writing him off.
7 horses by Bettor's Delight, 29 on the day, and one of those is your best bet.
I think Jesse Duke will probably win. I just think he's in the right space and he's heading forward. He doesn't look tired. Some of these horses will be starting to get tired because they're only babies. What do you make of it?
Yeah, look, I went with War Dandelight a place. I've got a theory that he might be the 3 wide, 1 back.
Explain, how's he going to run a place?
Well, I spoke to Natalie Rasmussen about it yesterday, and she said to me, she said prior to that first up run, and Craig was right, he'd had an issue, he'd had a bug, and therefore he'd missed all that hard racing. He had a couple of trials. Yes, they didn't look that good on paper, and he desperately needed that run.
What odds is he a place?
$3.60.
You're out of your mind.
Okay, cool.
It'll pay $5.50 a place on the day.
I don't really care. I'll take the tote then.
Oh, really?
$5
So
will do
you'd be betting on the day? Oh, now you're in trouble. Now, let's not forget, this time last year we thought we knew it was going to happen here. Spankin was going to lead and win, and
yeah, exactly.
Actually Locas blew him out at $40.
And we've seen Follow the Stars get beaten in this race at this track.
We've actually also seen a lot of All-Stars reversals. They'll have 2 horses race 2 weeks earlier, and you go, well, this one's definitely better than that one. And the next week, the different one wins. So the start's
out of my
mind.
I'm out of my mind.
You're out of your mind. If you're backing War Dandelight a place, it's been a long. I know it's been a long season, but you're falling to bits.
Okay, we'll move on to race number 7, Allied Security, 4-year-old Emerald, potentially.
Hey, you know that story I told you before about Greg Hope and Ingheim? That also applies to AG's White Sox. Just
around the vineyard.
I won't go over the story again.
Around the vineyard.
Basically the same story.
Equal favourites here. Eamon Maguire. Well, they were at the start. Now $2.40 Eamon Maguire over AG's White Sox, $2.60, and Star Galleria, who has drawn 3 the second row, follows out Run Boy Run, which I wouldn't have thought was the best spot, Michael.
No, it won't be. And I've had a good talk to Zach about that. He's going to look to go straight to the back of Eamon Maguire, which makes sense, and then just follow Natalie because she's such a good driver. AG's White Sox, the AG's White Sox, I think, who won the Easter Cup, I think would win this race, but there's 2 real problems here. I think he's had a long season. He's been up and down the island a couple of times, and really, I think he's looked like he's plateaued to me his last 2 starts. And secondly, Northview Hustler is a real sort of little nuggety horse, and he came off the gate really strongly at Alexandra Park last time. I'll be interested to see whether Craig thinks AG's White Sox can cross him, because if he doesn't, all of a sudden what looks a good draw could become a draw where AG's White Sox starts to run out of options. Big Fisho Man, what do you make of the 7th on the card, gate speed wise?
He's good, that Michael,
He's
isn't he?
throwing them all out tonight,
Yeah,
isn't he?
large aquatic friend.
I tell you, he's told me about 10 times. Greg, he's told me about 10 times I'm out of my mind. You do you, mate. You just stick to what you know.
So now you want to Matt Cross's me. This is brilliant.
Just ignore
You're from the South Island as well, but a long time ago.
Craig, I'm talking to you. Ignore Matt. Craig, what's going to happen?
Yeah, mate, let's look at the Emerald and how we see them coming off the gate. I agree with you, Michael. I think AG's White Sox could be the meat in the sandwich here, and I think Northview Hustler is the horse he's got to get across. And what we saw on Friday night over the 1,700 metres, I'm not sure whether he can. He'll definitely have a crack. Probably the horse that's got the most gate speed, boys, is Tiger Thompson from Barrier 5. I think what's an advantage to him is he's actually drawn a little bit wider out, so he's not close to the inside two here. I think that gets him a chance to slingshot them at the start. I think Matthew Williamson's got to roll the dice here, Matt, and try and get across them. That's his best chance. He can't sit parked and win this race, but if he crossed 1 and 2 early, gee, it changed the complexion.
I'd love to know on the day if that's what Matthew Williamson is going to do, but without knowing that vital information, $100, what do we do here?
Mate, for me, I'm very keen on Star Galleria. I think the barrier draw, I agree with Michael completely. He'll follow out Eamon Maguire and follow everywhere he goes. In fact, Zachary Butcher's 3 drives, he doesn't have to think about, which is good for Zach. He follows out. Trojan Banner won the second row. Have Times drawn to the second row. He's just basically sit in the cart and follow what's in front of him. And I think this will be the case with Star Galleria, boys. He'll follow Eamon Maguire everywhere. I think he'll get one shot at them, and I reckon he can win the duel, Star Galleria. Take the Quinella, 10 and 11 as well.
I'll throw in the 2. Take 2 Quinellas, $50 each. Grego, what are you going to do here?
Doesn't matter what I'm going to do. We've now got another string to the bow of Craig Thompson. He's a comedian as well.
Very funny big fish. I'm disgusted at myself here because I've gone for the same bet as Matt Cross.
Yeah.
Gee, that hurts.
That's disappointing,
that hurts
isn't it?
down here. I might go see somebody about this. I've got Eamon Maguire too, and just AG's White Sox is going to be there, and I hope Star Galleria wins. I really do. It's been a tough last year for Reedman. I hope it wins. But he's going to need everything to go his way for that to happen.
Well, he raced last Friday night at Alexandra Park, and Craig Thompson caught up with Stephen Reed.
Oh, he came through super well. I wasn't overly concerned about the time or the trip that he had or how he hit the line. He did blow out, but you've got to remember he hasn't raced for 4 weeks, and I think you're going to find that he's going to really lift off that run tonight.
Initial thoughts off the draw second row for the Jules?
Well, when I first saw it, I was horrified, but then on studying it, the fact that AG's White Sox has drawn 2 and Eamon Maguire's directly inside us on 2 on the second line, it's not great, but it's not game over either.
10 out of the 11 runnings of the 4-year-old Emerald have been won by the favourite. Which one's going to start favourite here, Michael?
Eamon Maguire will start favourite.
He'll start favourite?
Absolutely convinced. And if the Purdon Rasmussen roll starts early in the day, he might start on time. It can really happen. We know he's very slippery. Here he is trailing Star Galleria, and there's AG's White Sox coming wide. This is a messenger about a month ago. Gregory, the same 3 horses, and probably the only 3 winning chances. Eamon Maguire, I think, is more punchy over the shorter trips, and that could be the key.
Yeah, that's right. That was a really good performance from Eamon Maguire, considering, I know he had the right sort of run, but gee, he's come a long way. He went round in the Harness Jewels at 3, but he drew the outside gate. In fact, he was scratched. He didn't actually take his place.
What do you make of my view on AG's White Sox? Because we both love the horse and we know he's a New Zealand Cup contender, but he looks, to me, like he's had a pretty long season.
This version of him
can win for sure.
Would probably win.
This version sitting behind Tiger Thompson, well, beautiful, then he can win. But it could be an awfully hard race to get to the passing lane, and you could have vastly quick horses outside you like Eamon Maguire. He can win, I'm making no doubts about that, but I do think at 260, Greg, he's too short.
Yep. Okay, what about bet-wise?
I'll bet the Quinella because I think Eamon Maguire can't miss top 2. My heart will be with Star Galleria. I really hope he wins.
Yeah. Well,
what about you?
With Eamon Maguire. I think he holds all the keys, because if AG's White Sox happen to go forward, get the lead, he sits park, dictates, does whatever he likes there. Sure, he might have Star Galleria behind him, but he's already beaten him.
What odds is he now?
$2.40.
I think you take that. I reckon if the All-Stars start winning during the day, it might just collapse altogether. He could start $1.80. I'm not saying he's going to, but he could start because the Australians are going to bet really heavily into these markets. There'll be a lot of Australian money in these pools, and they'll go looking for the same people again and again and again, much in the same way that we do with Craig Williams or Ollie or Darren Weir. That's the way they'll shop, and Purdon Rasmussen horses, if the run continues or starts and then continues, they'll be starting to collapse towards the end of the day, which brings us to Winterfell.
Yeah.
Well, he's already short.
He's very,
and
very short.
if they all keep winning, he's going to get awfully short.
Before we get to that 3-year-old Ruby, the 10-time premiership winning driver, well, he got up to something a little bit different leading into the harness duels. So before we get to the Ruby, let's find out what he was doing.
Today, I'm heading down to Christchurch to meet one of the greats, Dexter Dunn. This is A Date with Double D's. Saddle up, partner. Dexter!
Yeah. And they're off like two peas in a pod. Anson Double D, suited, dual-seated and booted. Squeezes out the early grey baggy and offers him a Marilyn Monroe. I hope that's a milk and 2 sugars. Dexter not having a bar of it and throws it like a 12-year-old girl into the paddock as they round the corner. He's about to cut Dexter's lunch. The cheese and cracker combination with some gherkin. Looks like the cheese has literally fallen off the cracker. Too easy, he says, and pulls out his favourite, the Triple C threat. Cream, cheese and crack. Dexter says, I'm whipped, enough, thanks mate, but also says, I'll take a whole can for just being you, Double D. The wheels have well and truly fallen off this speed date. One date that will drive you crazy.
Double D, you've got a full stomach, but let's talk about your life. I want to get to know you a bit better. What is the most romantic thing Dexter Dunn has ever done on a date?
Paid for the meal.
Where was it?
McDonald's.
What is the thing that puts you off a girl on a date?
I guess she hasn't got, you know, good chat, mate.
Yeah.
Gotta have good chat, you know.
So I'm going all right for you?
Yeah, you're going good. You are going good, mate.
You've got 2 people applied for a room in your house as a flatmate. You've got to choose one, O.J. Simpson or David Bain.
Oh, shit. Probably O.J. Simpson, mate, because David Bain creeps me the
Beer of choice or?
I'm a spaceman prior to the south, but I also enjoy a nice cold Corona.
Yeah.
Good old Rona. It goes all right.
With a lemon or lime?
I'm just go nothing, mate, actually. I just, there's no fires that get in my drink, so it's, you know, if you can cook enough, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, do you visualise your victories, mate?
I like to visualise the, you know, winning races, but my main visualisation at the moment is the stage finishing.
Well, Dexter Dunn, Double D, probably the most memorable date I've been on. You know, the whipped cream and stuff. How good was that, eh? The cheese. Anyway, I'm looking forward to the second day with you, mate. So it's, you know.
I'll give you a call, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate. There you go. Yeah. Dexter, don't do that to me, mate. You're better than that. Huzzah! Huzzah!
Good bit of humour there. Of course, Dexter Dunn, 8 drives, superseded by his brother on Saturday, with John having the 9.
Yeah, and soon to leave for the United States, where Lazarus landed a couple of days ago. So 2 of our biggest names. Who would have thought 3 months ago, Greg, we'd be talking about both of them being domiciled in North America. Dexter, hopefully for not too long, but yeah, he's been a huge part of the duels, and it's an incredible run he's been on for the Premiership, but it's going to come to an end with Blair Orange. Be interesting to see who has the more success of the 2 on Saturday. This is an interesting race because if we get to the next on the card, if Winterfell leads, I think everybody thinks it'll win. But there's a horse in here a lot of people don't know much about, and it's awfully, awfully good. Number 8, Wobbly. It was called Wobbly because when it was born, its legs were so bad it couldn't stand up. It wobbled around the place. Spoke to Chris Alford. The story was on hrnz.co.nz today. He said, I've looked at the videos. My horse is as good as their horse, and if I have to sit parked, I can still win. He's no idiot, Chris Alford. He's driven 6,400 winners. That's a huge, huge call from the Papito.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's drawn out wide, along with Majestic Man, who I'm really interested in Craig Thompson's thoughts here, because we saw in the sires at Alexandra Park how quick he can get off the gate. Can he get off quick enough, Craig, in the first 96 metres to the first bend?
Well, Matt and the Ruby, I think the key to the race is Majestic Man, because as Sir Michael said, if Winterfell leads, he'll win. No doubt he's the best trotter in the race, but he is drawn barrier 1 here, and I think with the advantage of having 4 weeks between races for Majestic Man, when he went fresh in at Alexandra Park and he drew 8, Matt, he crossed them. He crossed them easy. Now, I think being out wide here and the favourite drawn the inside, I think he gives the opportunity to go forward. Now, with Wobbly drawn outside him, I think they'll elect to go forward as well. So if Majestic Man gets across here, changes the complexion of the race again. I don't think he's as good as Winterfell, don't get me wrong, but if he got in front of him, he's placed twice behind him, I think he's declared value in the race. I think the Australian, definitely a top 3 chance, and wouldn't it be interesting if Maddie Williamson found the front and handed to the Aussie? Gee, that would really change the complexion.
It would be a ripper. Chris Elford obviously thinks he might have to sit outside something. He thinks he can still win. Can he sit parked and still win, in your opinion?
Wobbly? Probably not.
Okay.
I think he'll have Winterfell on the trail, and Majestic Man's a very good trotter, so Wobbly can get wobbly. I've watched a few of his videos. He's a horse that I wouldn't quite trust. If he's playing cards with me, Matt, I think he's a horse I wouldn't want to play cards with. He's got a few tricks.
Renesmee's pretty genuine. She comes up with barrier number 2. She's a Group 1 winner already. How do you assess her against the boys?
Really, really nice filly with a good draw. Her problem with her is I think there's a couple in here that might be a little bit quicker, and she's drawn exactly outside the favourite. Had she drawn 4 or 5, there's more of a chance of her getting across them. I'm not sure she could get across the 1.
Well, there's sure to be plenty of multis running through Winterfell on Saturday. Craig Thompson, with your $100 spend in race 8, what are you going to do?
Well, again, it's like what I've said, boys. There's a lot of $1.30, $1.40 favourites in the trot division. I think Winterfell, don't get me wrong, is the best trotter in this race. And if he finds a front, he'll win. But I'll bet that maybe Majestic Man can get across him at the start. So I'll go 50 a win on him at around about $7 and take the Quinella with the favourite. I think that's a nice Quinella 1 and 7 in the trot.
Of course, we've got $10,000 first fours all day on Saturday, so you might as well throw one of them in there as well, boys. There's numbers galore in this, but standing out, one horse up the top of the book to win around Renesmee, Majestic Man and Wobbly, all for 2nd, 3rd and 4th.
Michael, you're thinking trifecta here and you're standing out Winterfell while you're telling us about how you'd play this. Let's have a look at Winterfell and why he deserves to be favourite. Those 10,000 first fours, by the way, are races 1, 5 and 9.
Look, here he is winning the Derby, and he didn't trot squarely at all. This is the Northern Derby. He was actually just all over the shop. Look at him here, he's almost galloping. So I said to Mark Purdon, I said, what do you make a barrier 1? I mean, I'm not sure he's a barrier 1 horse. He said, no, the horse is trotting beautifully. And he doesn't often say that. Mark tends to talk to you and not want to say definitive things. It's just not his personality. I said, so good enough to trot and lead from barrier 1? He said, they'll need to be going very quick to cross him from barrier 1. When he said that to me, it made me think this horse will win. Now, Wobbly's a very good horse, but I haven't seen Wobbly suggest he can sit parked outside Winterfell and beat him if, in fact, he leads, and that's a crucial component. Now, here's Wobbly coming 4 wide. This is the New South Wales Trotting Derby. He galloped, lost about 30 metres, Grego. These horses are largely inferior to ours, but he gave them 30 metres start and a 2-minute mile rate. We know how good he is from the Breeders' Crown last year. It's great to have him here. I just can't see him sitting parked outside Winterfell, but if Winterfell's not in front, the whole ball game changes.
I have the utmost respect for Chris Elford, but he got beaten by Scallywag Sam 2 starts back.
At Kilmore. Yeah.
Now, Scallywag Sam, maybe there was a problem, maybe, I don't know, but Scallywag Sam wouldn't be in the top 10 favourites for this race, and this horse is drawn the outside.
I think everybody thinks if Winterfell leads, it'll win. The question is, do you think it'll lead?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Well, in that case, it's probably go. In that case, number 9 comes into play. Monaro Mia.
Well, that's my bet. I'm going for her
She could trail him, and trailing at Cambridge is worth gold around the marker peg. So her replace?
Yep, her replace, $4 she was. I think she's about $2.80 now or somewhere in that vicinity. But I'd be happy with that, and there's your trifecta.
Yeah, I'll give the tries with Winterfell to win, with the 7, 8 and 9, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So, look, I give them all a chance of just, depending where they are, being probably outside leader, 1-1 and in the trail. And if Winterfell leads, there'll be no other moves in the race, and I doubt there'll be any other horse with a place chance. Maybe Renesmee, but it could end up 3 back on the outside. I'm really glad Wobbly's here.
Yeah, so am I. And Chris Elford just,
but when Mark said that to me, he said, he's trotting beautifully squarely. I sort of went, well, okay, this might be a game over job. But It's no guarantee he'll lead to the first bend. Not like the paces where you can sort of map them. It's a lot harder to map the trotters, particularly with this level of inexperience.
Final race on the card. It's always a classic. The 3-year-old, of course, will never forget Smolder winning this race at this venue.
It's the best race on Jules Day.
No doubt at all.
It always is.
We've got 3 horses around the $3 quote. Pat's Delight, second in the Derby. Sheriff, the winner of the Derby. And, of course, third in that Derby, Sicario, who's been a winner since then. It is with Dunstan Feeds, and it is an exceptional field, Michael.
Look, it is, considering we don't have the best 3-year-old in the country in Auckland Reactor. We have 3 horses who are
Chase Auckland.
Yeah, Chase Auckland, or Auckland Reactor, as it turns out. These are 3 horses who have gone to war a lot of times, and you can make a case that Sicario might be better than Sheriff, but Sheriff was so good in the Derby, he looks a New Zealand Cup horse, and Pat's Delight's usually good enough to split them one way or the other, but Pat's Delight's got a significant advantage with the barrier draw. So as we head back to Cambridge for the last time tonight, Craig, what do you make of this at the start? Because I thought there was gate speed in 1, 2, 3, and what's going to be number 4 with Alta Maestro. They could go awfully quick at early doors.
MG, this is the race of the day for me, mate. I can see, Matt, enormous gate speed in this race, from 1 to 5. Inside draws have all got brilliant speed. When we look at the map here and how we see them coming off, I've got Pat's Delight and Alta Maestro coming out the fastest from gates 2 and 5. Alta Maestro has to use the draw. His best races matters when he's been in front. It's whether he can get across Pat's Delight. Solid Gold, we know his good gate speed. I think James, again, will do his best to get it out of the gate. He's going to dictate what happens afterwards. And then Sheriff, it's kind of sandwiched in the middle. Now, they're going to put the blinds on him. He trialled at Cambridge on Saturday. We heard from Nigel McGrath. Initially, I was a little bit disappointed in that trial from Saturday on the back of a pretty lacklustre run after the Derby. But you've got to remember, that was a 3-5 Derby, 2,600 metres, Matt. Maybe that just undone him a bit. They've had the time to freshen him up. The big winner out of this for me is Sicario, because I think he's a horse that has had 4 runs this time in, good enough to beat Chase Auckland first up at the Park. Since then, he hasn't got a bad race, including running 3rd in the Derby, sitting from barrier 9 parked out, and after that beating Alta Orlando, the older horses, in the free-for-all, and that race was Pat's Delight as well. I think he's in an ideal preparation leading into this race. I think he can capitalise on a very hot speed, and I made him one of the bets of the day.
Okay, Sicario there for Craig Thompson, heading into the last race. I'll go with Sheriff, the Derby winner. Just had some steering issues at Addington last time around. I think if he gets around this track a little bit better than what he did, he'll be on song for the last race come Jules Day Saturday.
Let's go back to the key lead-up race here.
You're a huge Sheriff man, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I am. And the confidence that I got out of him winning this race, which is a brilliant performance in 3-5, that was outstanding. There were good runs in it, but none more so than his. And the workout, of course, on Saturday, I take a lot of credence out of what Todd Mitchell says, and that goes over a long period of time. I've seen preparations for horses leading into New Zealand Cups, and in latter years, the All-Stars often go to trials and workouts and don't win. There's different ways to prepare a horse to go for a Group 1. This horse here sat parked from the 800 metre mark. They ran home and better than 56.27, and Todd just coaxed him up the straight. Yes, he got beaten by Better Step Aside, who's an inferior horse, but I was quite happy the way this horse went, Michael.
I wasn't, and I'm not saying he can't win. I think he's the best horse in the race. I think he's a horse, the only horse in this race who could line up in the New Zealand Cup and be a factor, and I do think he could win a major cup one day. I put him in the same boat as about 4 or 5 other horses this week, and AG's White Sox is another one. I'm not saying they can't win. I just don't want to take the price on offer for them. He's a very, very good horse, but I think Nigel would have been happy to put him in the paddock a month ago, and he's come here and he's made his decision, and it's the right decision because you're only 3 once. But I just think that unless he leads, I thought he looked 1 pace at Addington last time, and I thought he looked 1 pace there. I respect Todd's opinion 100%, but he needed to finish closer to that horse, in my opinion.
Nah, it's a workout. There's no money up. Come on, you've been around this game long enough.
He still tapped it up 5 times.
A tap?
Put it this way.
Maybe.
I'm happy to bet against him, and if he beats me, I'll just go, that's beautiful. It's a better's delight, and they improve on the day, and I know, we all know, everybody sees the same stuff, and we've all seen the same videos. Now everybody's seen that there.
This is the most examined set of fields all year, every year.
Yep.
Is it not?
I'm not saying he can't win, but there's no chance I'm taking him at the odds he is.
Okay, so what's your bet?
I'm going to split. I think Sicario, if they burn up early and Fun at the Beach gets to the park, he'll hand to Sicario, and Sicario will probably win. But Pat's Delight has an awful lot going for it. I think when I spoke to Cran this week, and here is Sicario winning last start.
With Pat's Delight getting to the outside.
Just keep turning up. Pat's Delight, we see as a fast horse, but he lacked the speed here to run past Sicario. But he might not need to. They're beating good older horses there, like Tiger Tara and Ultra Orlando, because Cran told me he wants to lead in this race and stay there. Now, if he leads and stays there, and Cambridge is a wicked leaders, milers track, then the other horses are going to need to be, again, we go back to the simple mathematics, 2, 4, maybe even 6 that's better to beat them. And maybe Sicario is. But I can't back Sheriff to be better than him by that margin on his trial last week or on his run at Addington the start before. So I think Sheriff's the best horse in this race, but I do believe the other two are more or are closer to their peak, and I'll split my bet. You can't at the moment because it's $3 each of 3. I do think that one of them, probably Pat's Delight, funny enough, if the Purdon Rasmussen think it's on
could
the roll.
get out closer to the 4, maybe?
He hasn't won for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm like you, like with AG's White Sox. AG's White Sox is a New Zealand Cup horse, but I don't want to back him this week because he's too short on what I've seen of him in the last month. They're both with very good trainers. I wish their connections the best of luck, but I cannot be on Sheriff.
Oh, I'm $100 on Sheriff, so I'll stick solid there. What about you boys there? $500 bets, of course. Your chance to go to Facebook and select which one of us you believe to be the best selector or punter, if you like. So what are you boys doing?
There's a bit of Greg O'Connor love going on the Facebook competition, isn't there?
Mate, what we've got to do is also thank the audience here. I mean, the participation here tonight, and we've got 70 people in the house, and they've enjoyed what we've done
here.
Our
fans. We've got 35 fans each.
Well, they wanted to see us here. To be honest, you know, the C team, the Cross and Craig.
Yeah.
You know.
There we go. 35.
What are you doing
each.
with your 500, Matt?
I don't know.
You don't know, you can't remember.
What are you doing?
Well, what I'm doing is I'm putting 300 on Sicario on the last at 360. I think he's into 320. Yeah, I've been very keen on him. Second row draw. My value bit of the day is Delishka, and $7.50 now. 100 each way gives you $1,000. Either way, if one of them wins, it's $1,000. If they both win, it's $2,000. Nice collect.
I'm going to be multi put together. Princess Tiffany, She's All Rock, Winterfell, and Sheriff. I would have loved to have gone Sheriff to win the last, but MG put me off. $500 each or 2 there, Grego.
All right, thanks, boys.
Well, also, we need to get to the bottom of something which is wrong there. If there's 70 people in that room, Craig's got 60 fans and Matt Cross has got 10.
so let's nail that for a start.
Seriously.
You never cease to amaze me, Michael.
Seriously, we're that close to a big day. Let's not start lying to each other now.
Yes.
Michael,
all right, we'll see you boys on Saturday. Thanks so much for your participation down there. Bye, Craig.
Bye,
guys.
Yeah, $500 for you, Michael.
Look, because it's not my money and therefore I'm not going to be the one profiting, I'm going to go something relatively safe. I'll probably lose now. I'll go She's All Rock all up into Winterfell. I think it might be slightly nervous times with the second one. I think the first one will win. That'll probably get you close enough to $1,000. It's not my money. If you are unfortunate enough to push my name on the selection panel, good luck. I hope I win some money for you.
Yep, by mistake that'd be mine. $500 to win on Eamon Maguire. I think
Here's a question for you.
all the keys. All the keys.
If you entered, who would you go to pick your horse for you? Not yourself. If you say Matt Cross, I'm going to stab you with this pen.
Craig Thompson's record at Cambridge is nothing short of outstanding. Short break here on your box seat. Just a couple of things to wrap up when we return. What has been a really ordinary time in the last 7 to 10 days in harness racing. We've lost another legend of our sport. His name, Jack Carmichael. Of course, we go back to 1972 and his big moment, it was New Zealand Cup Day. The horse was at Globe Bay, and Jack's longevity was quite remarkable, Michael. He was still training horses in his late 80s, and this was his big day. And of course, Globe Bay Drive is only over the back fence from where he lived right up to his final days.
And he was a person, Greg, who had a lot of respect. Often that comes with age, but for Jack it had been because of an enormous body of work, and it's a cliche, but in his case it's absolutely true. He was gentleman Jack. He was a very gently spoken man, and we had some wonderful times with you and him leaning on the old truck of the old days. Very popular guy. I remember it at Victoria Park in Greymouth as a kid. There he is, there's Jack on the truck.
And that's the truck he bought when Globe Bay won the New Zealand Cup. So
yeah. And he passed away, and sadly he'll be up somewhere in heaven having a whiskey with Pilch, and they'll have plenty to talk about, and they'll have some good company alongside DG Jones and some of the other people we've lost in the industry. But yeah, it's been a sad time, and if you have a jar or on a Saturday night after the Jewels, maybe raise a glass to some of the good guys.
Yep, absolutely. We go around the world, somewhere where you've been, the Elitloppet.
The Elitloppet, which is the heats and final race in Sweden. Of course, the Maritime galloped out in her heat and therefore didn't get into the final, quite sadly for her. It was a strange old day at the office. They had a huge delay to the start. The long story short, Maritime is going to stay with Stig Johansson and B Campaign around Scandinavia. The horses who won, let's be honest, you probably don't really care, to be completely honest. It was a hell of a good day. It's good fun, the Elite Lot, but don't let anybody ever tell you, I've been to 6 or 7 of them, that it's a better day than New Zealand Cup Day, because it's not. People will tell you this, and it's not the biggest stage trotting in the world, the pre-Dominikas, but it's still awfully good fun. If you get a chance to go and you've got the wherewithal, pop along sometime.
Well, Blair Orange will be the man there next year, because the World Drivers' Champs is over there and it's around this time. So.
Yeah, and they do the trotters very well, but yeah, it was a strange old day at the office.
Matt Anderson had a strange night at Addington Raceway last Saturday night. In fact, this was a real challenge for him. We'll get Mark Mack to bring them home.
Preston Pan's coming again. The 2-year-old Stars tonight won it. Good effort, great effort. Stars tonight beat Preston Pans, then tried to duck out of the gate. Matt Anderson's done a terrific job.
Yeah, showed amazing horsemanship skills there. Stars Alone got to the lead and then decided it was time to go home, Michael.
We've seen a couple of these recently, so it's, this could have been a lot worse, and you shouldn't laugh, but talented young guy, Matt, very forward young guy, and he's got a big future in the industry.
I think coincidentally that got him back in front in the Junior Drivers Premiership. So
he's one of the juniors who could transition to seniors, and you just go, okay, this will be faultless. Not getting the amount of drives, but the way he drives won't be an issue. Horse and driver all fine, so that's the main thing there. The comp, obviously get onto Facebook if you want to win a $500 bet from one of the 4 of us. Now, there's obviously a changed timeline here, so things you need to know heading forward to the Jewels. Clearly, those horses we spoke about earlier in the program, the 10 horses, if you want to know who they are, the information's on riu.org.nz, will be blood tested tomorrow, and we're hoping, this is important, that those blood tests are back in the hands of the RIU before around 4 o'clock on Friday, because scratching time's 5 o'clock. And I doubt they can extend that. So for that reason, Greg, those markets could well be shut, or some of those markets be shut until that time. Hopefully, as soon as it comes back, the RIU clear them, hopefully, ring the TRB and we get those markets reopened. Don't be too concerned about it. Most of the value is gone for the markets. You'll still have plenty of time to bet into those. Obviously, we have a big sort of kick-in on Saturday morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, with a kick-off before 11:50. Greg's going to talk to Mark Purdon about all of their runners, which we hope they all start, and get a rundown runner by runner, because I worked it out yesterday. Over half the money gambled on the Jewels and win pools and fixed odds win markets will be on All Stars runners. You're going to talk to him on Friday and get the absolute thoughts on all 21 of them.
21, it's not a record for them either. More about that when we get to Jewels Day. Big thank you to the team putting together tonight's program. Hope you've enjoyed it, not too far away from what should be another classic Harness Jewels out of Cambridge. We'll see you Saturday morning.